This is a View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 30th of September, 2025. Not the 1st of October, as I thought it was this morning, and all sorts of nonsense. But it's the 30th of September, 2025. My name is Patrick Smith. I'm joined by the Belfast Giants statistician in the hat, the man next to me, Mr. David Boucher. And down here, making his debut on A View from the Bridge, you probably know his voice from Giants TV. It's our friend Steven Boucher. Over the next hour or so, Davy would say less than an hour or so, we're going to talk about all the news and views of the Belfast Giants over the last week and a whole lot more beside. We're live or on demand on YouTube, X, Facebook, and you can get us through all the really good podcast providers. If you're watching live on any of the platforms, get involved, drop us a comment. We see them all coming down the side here, and we'll probably throw a few up on screen. If you've got time, like, subscribe, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that sort of stuff really helps us out. I normally go to Davy first, but I'm not this time. On debut, Mr. Boucher, how are you doing?
Doing well, mate. Thanks. All the better for seeing your faces on a wet day here in Northern Ireland.
I appreciate you coming on and joining us, mate. Nice shirt in the background. It's one of the
teddy bear one from last season. Yeah, my daughter loved it, so I had to get it for her. And I got her the wee matching puck as well. And it's all for the.
I was going to say it looks a bit small to fit you.
Yeah,
I didn't know whether it was right behind you or it was in the distance. And now you put your hand on it, I see it's quite small.
No, it's a small one. It's hers.
Mr. McJimsey, how are you?
Man, I'm not great. I've got to be honest. I know that I say this every week. As my dear old departed granny would have said, another clean shirt will do you. I'm not feeling well at all this weather. So
what's the matter, mate?
That's probably not a good time to be talking about my illnesses. So let's crack on with the hockey.
It's when you're into your 50s.
Nothing contagious, that's for sure.
It's when you reach your 50s, mate. I'm sure it'll come.
I'm sure whenever I get there, mate. I'm sure whenever I reach that number,
I hope you get better, mate. I'm absolutely knackered myself. I was at a gig last night, and I'm just still recovering from it. To be honest with you, it was a belter though. Really enjoyed it. But we've got a good show ahead.
What's the gig?
It was a singer called Self Esteem. She's Rebecca Lucy Taylor's from Sheffield. She's very, very good. She sold out 3 nights in Manchester with them, but she was absolutely outstanding. If you've not checked out Self Esteem, I really recommend the last 2 albums. They're excellent. But that was actually the crowd was actually older than I thought it would be. I thought I was going into like a whole really young crowd. Nope, it was older than I thought it would be. So that's that, David.
Nothing. Move on here. Come on.
On this show, we're going to be chatting with Mike Lee, who'll be joining us later on, and the chairman of the Belfast Giants, as we now know him. It's Robert Fitzpatrick will come on to chat just a little bit about what's been happening over the last week or so with the Friendship Four, and probably a whole lot more besides knowing Robert going cracking into the first couple of games. The games that took place at this last weekend, of course, against the Glasgow Clan. They were 2 games. One in Belfast 3-1, and the one over in Glasgow was 2-4. Both wins for the Giants. Let's start with that home game, that 3-1 win here from the coaches.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good game of hockey. The first game I thought the first period, I thought was very even. Just kind of going back and forth. Not really our style. Obviously, you're up against a good team, and sometimes it's going to be like that. I thought the second period we got better. I thought we had some more ozone time, some more looks, some more second looks. Finally got rewarded and built our way back into that game. And obviously a big power play goal there by Marcus to get us the lead. And I thought the third period was good. I thought outside of taking 2 penalties in the first couple minutes there, obviously 2 big penalty kills to kind of set us up for the rest of that game.
Yeah, I thought it was a good hockey game. Belfast are very good, as predicted. I thought we were just okay tonight. I thought everybody was decent, pretty good, but I don't think anybody had a great game. I think we can be better, but it was a long day, obviously. A lot of things right now with rosters and travel, and it's. But at the end of the day, like, we're professionals supposed to come in here and do a job. But Belfast are very good, and I thought they were the better team tonight.
The goals from this game, the scoring was opened by the Glasgow Clan on 20 minutes on a power play goal from Tristan Langan, and then it was the Giants with 3. Scott Conway in midway through the second, as did Marcus Ericsson on the power play. David Goodwin wrapping things up with an empty net goal. In nets, Jackson Whistle for the Belfast Giants and Sammy Atukalio. Anybody? That's what I'm going with. Steve, what do you got? You got Atukalio?
Itukalio. I think Marty just decided to just try and call him Sammy all night, but
I think that's a better idea. The referees Randy Dalton and Vitas Lukasvicius. Interesting, Davy, listening to Corey Nielsen, because that sort of was my take from this game. It was just sort of yep, that is what it was. There was I think the Giants played very well, but it wasn't the most remarkable of games.
No, but probably for me, the best weekend we've put together so far in the season, in terms of 120 minutes of 2 games. Yeah, we'll go down to that power play goal. It's actually a really lovely play from Burke when it'll come up in the highlights in a minute or two here. No blame on Brandon Whistle or whatsoever when I say this, but he just quite freezes Brandon with a little drop of shoulders. If he's going to go inside, Brandon stops the play, and he has a seam pass which beats 3 sticks. And it's a one-timer. No, that's in the second period, so this isn't it. And it's a one-timer past Whistle. And we have to then fight back from that. In every metric, face-offs, O-zone time, A-zone pressure, every metric in this game, shot blocked or blocked shots, shots on net, shots off net. We pretty much dominated this game in most areas. And it was the right win. 1-goal game, okay, empty netter at the end there to sort of seal the win, but it was a lot closer than it needed to be. I thought in the main, we were fairly comfortable. Jackson makes a couple of tremendous saves. One right at the death just before we score the empty netter to keep us in it, just as they pull the goalie. It could have been so different, but hey, we come away with the 2 points, and I think in the main, quite well deserved.
Stevie, you look at, as Davey said, all the metrics and the fact that on the official stats, and I know Davey often disputes these, but there's 34 shots on goal for the Giants to 25 from the Clan in this one. And as the game went on, yes, they got the first goal, but I think personally that seemed like it was against the run of play and we were controlling it.
Stop.
Sorry, Davey. Go.
Just here. Can we wind that back just ever so slightly?
You've got it.
Just here. He just freezes and then just plays the most beautiful cross-ice pass. Hard to defend. I think we had a nice little box there and all. It was not sometimes you get beat by a good pass, and I don't think defensively when you're 5-on-4 anyway, it's you're one man down. So sorry, Stevie.
No, you're right. You can see the little shimmy sort of on the shoulder. That just, like you said, throws Brandon Whistle, and it's a great pass. I think probably Jackson Whistle might have wanted that one back again. That cliche.
No, I don't know.
Squeezed past him. It was a good hit, good one-time shot. The first period, I think cancelled out makes it sound like neither team had much attacking play, but both teams were quite even in the first period. Obviously, early on power play, Glasgow get that lead. Langan has had a great start to life with Glasgow, hammers that one in. But I think the Giants responded really well. After that, there was a long period where they felt, like you guys said, very dominant. 3 goals unanswered after that. That final goal was the empty netter. There was a period where the Clan were down to 3 with the 5-on-3, and the puck went through the glass, and that then meant there was a lengthy kind of delay. Had to replace the pane of glass, and I think that helped Glasgow because I think at that point Giants were turning the screw a wee bit. Obviously, the 5-on-3, they managed to survive that. Great effort there by Marcus Ericsson, just didn't quite get it on target, but he got the goal later on the power play. I think it was pretty even, I thought, for a lot of the game. I think the metrics, like you say, show Giants were probably the better team. But Clan were value for money, and that late goal just to seal it, I think probably fair enough result, 3-1.
Interesting as well, and we'll probably come into this further in the second game, Davey, is that after 40 minutes, Atukalio was taken out and Lucas Bryan went in. Potentially an injury there that seems to affect it, and the backup played all of Sunday's game, which we'll come to, but did well, and we'll focus on Sunday, but did well when he did come in.
Yeah, we know of his quality. We've seen him plenty of times in the SSE and the Odyssey before, and we've seen him when we've had to go to Scotland and face him as well. No mug, and I'm not sure that he's a guy that any coach is going to want to play 40 or 50 games in the season, but he's certainly a guy who can elevate his game through small small patches. I think if he could have proven himself to be good enough to be playing 40 games, he would probably have a starting post in this league. But at the minute, he's still learning his craft, and he's still one for the future. But at present, he has to be in between the pipes, and he certainly give his team a chance in both games, which is all you can do. He gives his team a chance to go up the other end, and they weren't able to do that. So no blame on the goalie there.
I think we'll come back to him, Stevie. I want to get your take on that as well. But what we'll do is we'll flick on here to Sunday's game. The highlights from this game, as you can see from our fabulous friends at Belfast.
It's worth letting these roll to almost the end to give Jackson's. I'll try and wind on here. I think might have just missed it there. This save from Jackson, possibly right here. Nope, that's the empty net. So I've gone too far. It's maybe not on the highlights, but it's just the play. It's probably there. Nah, I don't know. Anyway, it's just the play before it goes back down the ice and comes back down, and we get the empty net goal. It's an unbelievable save from Jackson, just with sort of 1:30 left in the game. That's probably up there. But anyway, sorry.
No problem.
Those watching the audio podcast are listening, that's rubbish.
Let's crack on. Let's go to the game that took place over in Glasgow on Sunday. It was a 4-2 win for the Belfast Giants. Coaches, let's hear what they had to say.
I thought we were pretty good, to be honest. Belfast, I said yesterday, they're a good hockey team. We did a lot of good things. We changed a couple things. We went to our pressure system, which was very effective. We turned over a lot of pucks. Got some good chances out of it. I thought our D zone was pretty good. I mean, they're a good hockey team. They're going to have all zone possession, as we did. We created some great chances, but sometimes it's just a matter of a couple bounces here and there. That third goal was obviously devastating for us. We were pulled ourselves right back in the game, and it bingo balls off a couple guys in our net. So things like that. Bounces go one way, and hopefully the next game will go ours.
I thought it was another good game of hockey. Obviously, Glasgow was a good team. We were prepared for them to, be a little harder to play against tonight. I thought they were. I thought our guys turned up as well, though, and I liked our third period there. Obviously, Glasgow was making a big push back. I thought Jackson stood tall, and I thought that we competed hard defensively within our zone there to get some pucks out. We did bend, but we didn't break there. And ultimately, we've been trying to have a complete weekend here for the last couple of weeks, and we finally get one. So it's nice to enjoy that. We hopefully build on to going to next weekend.
Giants goals on the night came from Kawaguchi, Gray, Mike Lee, who we chat to later, and another empty net goal from David Goodwin. Tristan Langan with 2 goals in 2 nights for the Glasgow Clan, as did Colton Pullman. It was Jackson Whistle up against Lucas Bryan, and the referees were Joe Sewell and Tom Perring. Stevie, the Giants started off quite strong in this, and obviously went out at the Clan thinking they're up against Lucas Bryan, they're up as a backup, and no disrespect to him, but they got those early goals, and they were strong. Glasgow remained in the contest, but the Giants still had the jump.
Yeah, well, I think like we sort of said the night before, after they went behind, they were just really professional after that, and they just brought that into the start of this game as well. I don't know if turning the screw or whatever is the right term, but as you said, they just came out and they were encouraged to just go for it early on and make sure they kept that domination. Great finish there. Kawaguchi doing what every good forward does, just right around the crease, waiting for anything to drop the ball. And what a finish, just into the empty net there. Bryan, I mean, he's unlucky. Another, maybe a more experienced keeper can manage to glove that. He gets the save, but just drops right to Kawaguchi. And yeah, at the game then, the 2-0 up just after there was a lot of pressure in the ozone, I think, on the Glasgow Clan. They couldn't get the puck out. Giants were really on the forecheck hard, and then the second goal came from that. They got a steal in the ozone, got it inside, and an early shot from Gay, I think, just caught Bryan, maybe not quite set. It was a great finish, though. I think if you see the angle from behind the net, it looks like Bryan has that angle cut off, but there's about 2 inches of space, and Gay just finds it past his left shoulder. So yeah, I think again, professional from the Giants with pushback from the Clan. I mean, Giants went, to 3 or to 2-1 2-0, and then the Clan came back at it, and a little bit lucky to get that third goal. The deflection off the defender gets you that little bit of breathing room. But I think the Giants were, again, good value. Then the empty netter again, making it a 2-goal game at the end.
I think, and you mentioned there, Nick Gray, and I'll come to you on this, Davy. He's a guy who is really. We spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. He was looking forward to getting in and getting his feet under the table and getting those goals, and it was a lovely finish.
Yeah, I like Nick and what he brings to the game. He's one of those players that can slow things down when he's in the moment. He can make space. He can make a difficult tight space look like he's got all the time in the world. I remember talking probably to you about watching Brian Robson back in the day playing football, and he's just one of those players that looks like he's got space around him because his movement's good. As he plays with his head up, he knows where to go. So yeah, I like him. There was a lot to like about this performance as well. And back to front, I thought that we again we're pretty dominant. Defensively a bit stronger than we've been possibly the last couple of weeks, while still getting that offense. We talked about that goal there. Stevie saying about our third goal. It's Gabe Bass goes back into his own, plays it up the boards. A little touch from Laker into the spike, and Mike's gone in there. He's on later. We'll ask, is it a shot? Is it a pass? But you get a bit of puck luck that we haven't been getting in the last lot of weeks, and that little bit of puck luck. And I don't know, Corey Nielsen calls it a bingo ball or whatever, but a little bit of puck luck, and it's back in the back of net. And a 3-1. Then I think we're really composed from there on in. I thought we controlled the game well in all three zones. And again, as I said about Saturday night, I think we're well worth our 4 points in the weekend.
Give us your take on the Lucas Brown side of it, Stevie. Obviously, Davy said there's early audio about getting those chances. He came from, he played in Dundee. He had he's the second season with the Glasgow Clan. He only played about 16 games last year, but he's come from playing, and he's played in Sweden, he's played in America. He's done his time to try to develop, and he's had his call ups without actually getting games to the sort of senior GB side. There's potential there for him.
Absolutely. He's only 23. And as you say, it's really only his third season in the league. I think if I remember correctly, I think he's had about 17 appearances for Dundee and then about 16, as you say, last year for Glasgow. So he's getting, that's about a third of the fixtures for his team. And when you're 23, that's probably a good enough kind of workload to handle and get that opportunity. I thought Saturday night, he came on that final period. It was a injury to Ida Callio. It wasn't anything to do with Brian per se that they brought him on, but he did fine in that final period. He didn't concede. It was only the empty netter that went in then for the Giants in the third period. So then obviously Ida Callio clear. I'm not sure. It seemed to be a clash with his head, neck. Maybe he's a bit injured. Couldn't make it Sunday, so Brian has to go again. And we've said it on this. Or you guys have said it on the podcast before with like some of the younger players who come in the CHL there and stuff. You have to just answer the call. And I don't think he did anything majorly wrong for any of the goals. You can see there, there's an experienced goaltender. Jackson Whistle just gets a wee bit unfortunate there, kind of got tangled up a little bit and the puck gets past him. That can happen anyway. I think Brian, he got beat well on the goals that the Giants scored. Not his fault really,
Davey, what's your take on the Clan? Haven't seen them now for 2 games.
Not a bad hockey team. Both games are 1-goal games with empty netters to seal the deal. But
improved on last year, do you think, or is it too early to say?
It's like we've only seen 2 games out of them, and Corey. I don't think Corey was too hot on both their performances. Maybe a difficult travel day for them on Saturday. Obviously, both teams travel on Sunday, so there can be no excuses there. But we've had our own. We're still getting our feet under us as well. So we're trying to critique the Glasgow Clan. We've guys are just starting to get their legs underneath them. Guys that we've had our own injury problems. So whilst Clan have got their injury problems, so have we. And it's good to be getting a sort of full roster. And there's the second weekend we've kind of had a full roster and with 4-point weekend. So I'd rather concentrate on us than worry about the Clan.
Stevie, your take on what we're looking like? You're debuting with us. Coming through the CHL, coming into this Challenge Cup. What do you think of the Giants so far?
Yeah, I was impressed. They did quite well in the preseason against Stavanger and then straight into the CHL. I was impressed. I thought those first 2 games against Kalpa, going to overtime, just such unlucky to lose in overtime. And then the game against Ilves, I was really impressed. I was there. I was down in the crowd. When we got that 4-3 goal, to go ahead. I think that's one of the loudest I've heard the SSE Arena in a long time. And sometimes for me, whenever you're playing against essentially higher level opposition, you want to just sort of show you can handle it, you can hang, you're there not just to be a training, exercise. And I thought the Giants did that in the CHL. Again, then difficult teams to have to go play against over in Switzerland with Lausanne and they're playing Bern again coming up soon. So they have had a tough draw. I was impressed throughout the CHL though. I thought they handled themselves well. I was a little surprised then that it seemed to drop off a little bit. The consistency just wasn't quite there in the Challenge Cup. The Dundee games, obviously, losing twice to Dundee. And then it's at that stage of the season where really anybody's beating anybody. Like Fife to go then, they've got 2 wins over Dundee. And I mean, I saw somebody on social media after the Giants beat Fife 8-0, saying Fife shouldn't be in this league. They're not good enough for this league. And I was like, for goodness sake, they've beaten Dundee twice. Every other game they've had, they've been competitive. It's been 1-goal games. They lost in overtime one of the games. So and they've got a couple of wins. So I think it was a bit of a silly kind of take. So the Giants, I think they're looking for consistency still. And as Davy says, we've got all 4 lines there this weekend. We've got 4 points that we were well worth. I think the team's probably still developing and getting that chemistry. So if that continues, I think they're looking good.
The highlights from this game are from Clan TV on YouTube, and we crack on with our first guest. We spoke of him just a few minutes ago, especially considering he scored in this game we've just spoken about. Delighted to welcome back to A View from the Bridge, Mike Lee. How do you, Mike?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Turn your phone 90 degrees if you could. I'll flick that. There we go. I'll fill the box for us. Let's start with an easy one. Good goal of the weekend. But how was your take? What's your take on how we played against Glasgow home and away?
Yeah, I mean, we finally put together like a full complete weekend. 4 points, so that was good to get back in that winning column. Yeah, we played well. We defended well. In both third periods. Glasgow had a push. To tie it up, and we kind of stood in there and played well. Wiz played great, and got the 4 points. So it was good to get back in that winning side of it, like we normally do.
Off the bat, obviously we're trying to get our. It's good that sometimes it's good that we play these Challenge Cup games at the start of the season to give you guys a sort of that ability to get your feet under the table, to get these lines together and sort of gel coming in. Because yes, this is an important competition, but we have the ability to sort of use it going into the league, which we see as a bigger competition.
Yeah. I would say, the league is the biggest trophy out of the 3. So, but we're trying to get the home ice advantage. That's one of our goals this year, for the Challenge Cup. So, losing those 2 games at Dundee, it was on us. We weren't defending well. We were giving up too many goals. We weren't playing our hockey. So, we just got to keep putting together these weekends and, hopefully some of the other teams lose a few games and we get home ice advantage.
Mike, obviously now this is your second go with us. 40 odd games last season, and now you're coming in as kind of not a veteran, if you know what I mean. You're only a 29-year-old man, but what I mean is, with 10 new guys coming into Belfast that all need showing the ropes, and a lot of them need told what it's like to play competitive games in August and September. Is that a pleasure for you now to sort of be more in a leadership role within the room?
Yeah, I guess. Everyone kind of helps everyone out. So, the new guys, that it's definitely a different format that no one else has played. This is the only league that does this type of format. So, normally, you just jump into a year and, you kind of get your feet, you get your feet under you, the first 5 or 6, 7 games, and then kind of pick it up a notch. But we can't do that because the games are so important early on in the season. So that's kind of, where our head's at. And yeah, just letting the guys know, and, they're buying into it. So everything's good on that end.
And as you say, camp is short. I know there's plenty going on, but you have the 2 exhibition games and then you're into 4 seriously high level games. that's hard on the body, and we lost guys early, and you have to factor all that in. We are still just starting to gain momentum as a team.
Yeah, for sure. The Challenge Cup taught us a lot about kind of who we are, and like the Switzerland trip didn't go well. Like those teams kind of just outplayed us, but the two Finnish teams that we played at home, like I thought we could have won either of those games. The CHL was a good experience, but kind of jumping into the Challenge Cup, kind of those two Dundee games are they bother all of us, but it is what it is. But yeah, we're getting the train rolling here. Everyone's looking good. I would say a full lineup finally this weekend. So that was good.
Mike, you've scored a few goals for the Giants. How does your one on Sunday night rate amongst your goals for the Giants?
I mean, I wouldn't put it up that high, but every goal is a good goal. It's good. It's good to find the back of the net early on in the season. Kind of get your confidence up, and it was a greasy goal, but I'll take it.
Oh, they all count at the end of the day, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned there that the Dundee games don't sit well with any of the group. Adam Keefe said before, sometimes he does actually kind of like to see a little bit of adversity against the team. Is that something that you think, sometimes having that wee bit of adversity can be like a wake-up call, can be a bit of a boost to move forward from?
Yeah. So, you're not going to win every game. You're not going to win out every game all season, right? You're going to lose games, and you kind of try to learn from them and take what you can from those games. So the adversity definitely, trying to, fight back in those games, right? We're down in third period, and we're like, all right, let's try to fight back in these games. Try to, use it as a teaching moment almost, and because we're gonna have to do that later on in the year in big games. So, yeah, we don't want that adversity early on in the year, but it's gonna happen. You don't want to be losing games, but we're definitely learn from it.
Before, I'm just going to take it away from hockey just for a minute, and let's talk about the Ryder Cup, Mike. Did you enjoy it at the weekend? Because I certainly did.
No comment.
Come on, Spike, you're better than
Americans. The Americans played terrible. The Americans don't play. I don't know. The format's just not good for them. Like in the alternate shot and the four balls. Like I don't know what it is, but like you saw on Sunday, the singles, like the Americans were great, but
ultimately the way the Americans played on Sunday showed how badly they were on Friday and Saturday. Because if they're individually that good, and like Europe only winning one match outright, if they're that good, then why is it that the likes of Scotty Scheffler or Bryson DeChambeau can't get their heads into playing the alternate shot? And also, I don't think the course was set up well for them, but that's
yeah. I mean, definitely wanted the Americans. We landed on Sunday, and we saw that the Americans were making a comeback, and I left my AirPods on the plane. Those are gone. But yeah, they gave me false hope later on, and then Shane Lowry made the birdie on 18 to seal it. So,
well, you just have to stick around 2 years, mate, and you can have the short drive down to Adair Manor for the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking to that, actually, you came here last year having played in Slovakia, and tell me about the decision to stay. You won 2 trophies last year with the Challenge Cup and the league. You know what I mean? That is a great achievement and a brilliant thing to have that on your thing. But why the decision? Was it an easy decision to make? Well, obviously the answer is, of course, it's an easy decision to make. But coming and playing here and making that say, you know what, I'm going to do it again. Talk us through that decision making process.
Yeah, I mean, kind of when I played in Slovakia, I kind of learned that I kind of wanted to be on a good, I had different criteria. Like I wanted to be in a good city. I want to be on a good team. That was the two main things. And Belfast checks those boxes. And I've been on some losing teams, and the years are just not fun. So obviously Belfast being a winning organization is the biggest draw for me. I love to win, and it's fun to win. So, and then also the city of Belfast, is great. Golf pretty much year round here, which is awesome. my family loves it here. They're coming out and visiting. So a lot of factors do play into the decision. So, but those are definitely at the top of the list, the winning team, the city, the golf, and like all the returning guys, it's just a good group. So that was pretty much, I believe it was an easy decision. So
we'll not say any more about golf on tonight's podcast, but
Okay.
we'll talk about the winning. You brought it up, being part of a winning organization. You cast your mind back to what is it now, April, and all those big games, Mike, that you just jumped up into in the last moments and scored big goals. That must be like core memories, like something special to look back on. Maybe in years to come, but just even right now, thinking scored game-winning goals in league championship deciders and getting us even to getting the goals that got us to the Sunday game, where we went and won it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched those highlights over the summer, kind of to bring me back. No, it's a good feeling. I mean, when everything's on the line, that Saturday home game against Nottingham, kind of, win and move on, right? Cons scored the first goal of that game, and then, it was obviously went into overtime. Jackson played unreal. And then getting the OT winners, the best goal of my career. So, kind of like playing meaningful hockey is something that everyone can get up for. And, that's kind of just, definitely core memories and something that I'll always remember for sure.
I don't want to dwell too much on last season because it's a brand new, we've got a brand new journey here, but that sort of half hour between finding out on the bench that the league was over, would want it, then having to go and play overtime, and then having to sit around for like half an hour, whatever it was, while waiting for the trophy to come back. Like, that just doesn't happen. It's just a great story. Stories to tell when you're older.
Yeah, for sure. I remember we were all standing on the ice. We're like, "Where's the trophy?" They're like, "Oh, it's on the highway." We're like, "Let's get it here." No, it was good though. But like those memories kind of fuel you to like want to keep doing it again. So, how great the Challenge Cup was last year. Like that, like the Challenge Cup at home, winning it is an awesome thing to do, and that's why you want to get the home ice advantage. So, definitely fuels you to keep winning.
Yeah, at least with the league trophy as well, it didn't fall apart in the hands of P.O. Marin.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Talking about core memories, that was a pretty funny moment, and it wasn't his fault at all. But no, I like that goal against Nottingham in Belfast. It was me and Sis were on commentary that night, and I remember I was texting Marty after, and he was like, "Oh, that was really fun to watch, and you guys did a great job and stuff." And I was like, "It was just pure emotion. It was Sis just screaming, and I think." He was like, "I don't even know who scored," and then I was just shouting Mike Lee, and it's like you don't prep that, you don't plan for that. It's just that moment, the emotion, and like it was just brilliant to see that. You joined last year a little bit later on in August. This year, you've had a full preseason under your belt. Has that helped a bit?
Yeah. I mean, getting those preseason games, and I guess the Champions League games, to kind of to get your like game legs back, right? Because like you can't really replicate a game like game shape. You can train all summer long, but to get back into game shape, you just got to play games, and that was definitely I think I started the year well, and gonna keep on going. So
how's the mood in the room coming in? Obviously, one of the things of this sort of season is the fact that it's Dundee, it's Fife, it's Glasgow, it's Dundee, it's Fife, it's Glasgow. This weekend, it's Fife and Dundee. So, how is the mood in the room to keep motivated for these games when you see the same guys over and over again? Or do you make a series of it? Because going into Dundee what happened the last time.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just the same stuff that I was talking about, I let the guys know, like, when we play like the, Sheffield and Cardiff and Nottingham, like those games are awesome and fun to play, but, you kind of have to do the job now to, put ourselves in a good spot, and then we get to enjoy those bigger games later on. But, definitely don't want to be going to Scotland, every weekend, but, we got a job to do, and just keep plugging along and getting it done.
Well, listen, Bit, we do appreciate you coming on. Thanks for joining us. Good goal of the weekend, and hopefully more to come. We'll see you down the line.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Mike.
Yeah, cheers. Have a good one.
Thanks to Mike Lee for coming in and joining us and chat us. Do you know what? I'll start with you in this one, Davy. Spikes and Stevie made that point. When Spike came in, he came in quite late, but he's done a great job, and it's good to see him back with us.
He's got the Derek Walters about him.
Yes, definitely. That's a really, really good comparison.
I think he's got a frustrated winger in Mike Lee, guy who knows where the back of the net is. A guy who's a good defender when he's behind his own blue line, loves to get involved in the attack, and Sis talks about it often. Adam wants first man in to be your D-man sometimes, and he transitions the puck so fast. He's got an eye. What Mike has is speed of vision, where we're in our defensive zone, but he sees the attacking opportunity and bang, he's gone. Tie that up with Gabe as two very offensive D-men, then sometimes you end up as what's happened in the last few weeks where we've conceded goals as well. But I'd rather have someone with an eye for a goal than without it. And I make that comparison to Derek Walser with tongue in cheek, and that both very offensively minded. D-men.
I think Derek Walser was a better forward than he was a D-man at times. But
I'm high on Mike Lee. I think he's a fantastic
100%.
roster.
Gives your take on Spike, Stevie.
Yeah, it's something you want sometimes, though, because it depends on how you want to play. Some coaches want that stay-at-home defense that's just always at home. Other coaches are happy to risk a little bit for the benefit of going forward. So it's the risk-reward. I think Mike Lee, last year we said he quarterbacked the second power play unit, Gabe Bass quarterbacked the first power play unit. The two of them are leaders on the ice, and they are those offensive defensive men. So putting the two of them together, I think they've played really well. And I think, like you said, Davey, he is taking on that role of taking on a little bit more responsibility. Not maybe a veteran, but I think he has shown that he can take it on. And he's one of those players that can put the game in his back a little bit and just say, right, if it's not getting done, I'll get it done myself. And you want that in your hockey team?
Yeah, well, we've lost that from last season in so much as Mark Cooper was, your clutch player. We've obviously got David Goodwin in there who's clutching. You go through names. JJ Pickens has a great month. You forgot something. When you might get Spike back on to talk POTM, mate. Give him a ring there and see if he's still about. But JJ Pickens has had a strong start. These guys that do, Scott Conway gets a goal the weekend. Ben Lake's playing there with Brandon Whistle, Kieran Long. That's a heavy line. That's a line that's going to bash any team about. And we've got depth there, but you need those clutch guys. And Mark Garside used to talk about his relevance and importance as just like being an anchor point that's been here time and time again, that players can come and ask him, should it be about where's good to go for a coffee in town? Where's the good to go for a walk? What am I going to do today when we've got a day off? And you've got those guys that have been here. And I know Spike's only been here a year. Obviously loves his golf, and there's a lot of guys there now in the locker room that love, and he'll be like, come on, let's go for a game of golf. And just that little bit of glue, a bit of a glue guy, I like him a lot.
You must have liked Davey the comment there that he wanted to play for a good hockey team and live in a good city, and he said Belfast ticks that box.
Ticks both boxes, and it's got golf coming out of its ears. So, what's not to love about Belfast?
Yes, we are waiting on the arrival of our next guest. So hopefully they'll pop along soon. But if not, we'll deal with the sort of stuff, and we'll invite them back in another time. In that, then what we'll do is go to the next thing that was on the agenda. I need to get the sound box working again because
Dops, when we just
yeah, dops. There you go. I used to love doing that. Scott Conway was fined for a slash in the game against Dundee last Sunday. One of the things that amused me in the actual press release is effective immediately. He's been fined. This isn't a delayed fine. We know delayed suspensions have been a thing in the last year, but I have it here. I'll bring it up. I'll start with you, Stevie. Do you know what? At the most, it's a 2-minute minor.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, a slash is a 2-minute minor, so I don't know. For me, are we going to go back to every 2-minute minor that gets missed and hand out fines? Like, there's loads of stuff goes on in the game. Okay, there was a slash that didn't get called, but fining Scott Conway for that just seems a bit of an overreaction or something. I just don't really get the logic there. And then I think
trying to flick this in. Ingles gets a stick.
Sorry, I was going to put a meter on that and I'll make it a bit bigger because you'll still be able to hear us. But
just seeing there, your side of the goal there, if you go back again, he gets a little bit of a shove in the back, I think, from, I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, a little shove there. Clear didn't really like it. A little tap there. It's okay. It's not great, but, you know, if we're trying to go and find every single incident of something like that in a hockey game, we're going to be here all night and players are going to get fined left, right, and center. Nobody's going to have any wages at the end of the day.
But Davy, I'll come to you quickly. Is that obviously it wasn't caught on the night? I would be astounded if that was basically requested by the Dundee Stars. That is little more than a love tap. There's no way. I don't believe the player was actually injured on it. So it's either been re-refereed and we've been given a fine, but also, like, if that's the threshold for a fine, then the Elite League are going to make a lot of money.
You're talking the wrong guy. You're talking the wrong guy, and you used exactly the same terminology as I said a week ago. It's a love tap. He gets a cross check up into the sort of tricep, bicep area of the arm, which you don't have a lot of cover on. He's took umbrage at it. You can see the referee. There's obviously a bit of shouting going on because the referee looks across at both of them. And yes, he gives him a little slash in the gloves and he goes off. It's probably sore. It's a 2-minute minor and you get on with it. And if that player's really got umbrage about it, talk to him in the next game. This is just the biggest load of bollocks that you're going to charge somebody. I'm assuming 100 or 200 quid. I don't know what a fine is. I've no idea, but I'm assuming it's not 20 quid, right? So it's just a load of balls. I'd probably have to pay £200 now for that.
I think it's a bit it's like if that's it, if that's a threshold, I've no idea.
Am I going to sit and go through game tapes now and find 100 incidents since the start of the season that'll be identical that haven't been fined? He is fined because that was Scott Conway, no other. Fine me for that. Whatever.
And on that, we're gonna move swiftly on because our guests arrived. Before we bring him in, we're going to give
he'll pay the fine.
We'll bring you a bit of an advert to show you what he's here to chat about.
It's goal time. It's show time. It's goal time. The whole time. Scoring goals time. Let them know time. It's goal time. The whole time. Scoring goals time. Let them know time.
Please welcome back to A View from the Bridge, the chairman of the Belfast Giants, Robert Fitzpatrick. How are you doing, Robert?
Hey, it's doing, guys. I'm doing very well, Paddy. Thanks. Hope you're all well.
Thanks for coming back on. It's good to see you. 10 years of the Friendship 4 this year. 10 years of the Friendship 4. We've had incredible weekends over the last 10 years. We're looking forward to another one this weekend. And before we get to all the stuff that's happened this week, you must be very proud of that we've reached 10 years and how this competition's been going.
Absolutely. There's no other word for it. I mean, out of the sort of the embers of an idea 10 years ago when making Davy interview Marty Walsh in the middle of the rink and get him to tell the country that the bean pop was coming to Belfast.
Because the diplomatic incident.
We've moved on a long way from there, but you know, I had cause to say a few words in Boston last week, and I said it. I said again what I said in the book, Paddy. When good things happen, when good people come together, and the Friendship 4 is a perfect example of that.
This year is no different. When you look at the teams that have come in from Union coming back, you got Sacred Heart. You know, it's Miami. You know, you got and you're also branching out here. I think Miami.
Well, I'm glad you've mentioned that, Paddy. That's the single biggest difference this year. If you think of the four powerhouses that played last year. We had BU, we had Notre Dame, we had Merrimack playing, and they all contributed to what was a fantastic tournament. This year, we're expanding into 3 conferences, 2 of them new. Miami, Ohio are from a different conference than the Atlantic Conference that RIT and Sacred Heart are coming from, and Unions from ECSC. So we'll see Doug, we mightn't see Steve. But the fact of the matter is, by the end of 2027, the vision that I had for this to become a national tournament where all of the hockey conferences, all of the Division 1 NCAA conferences will all have played in Belfast. And by the time we reach the 28th tournament, I'm delighted to say that 30 schools will have played in Belfast. So we're doing something right.
You know me, Robert, and I love reminiscing and looking back at things and how things came about. And like I know you say 10 years of friendship for, and it's really 11 since Marty Walsh came to Belfast, because that was the year before the tournament. And then it was probably at least a year before that when we discussed NCAA, and it was just, I think it was as glib an idea as let's put some on in McCool's or whatever. You know, it was something very low key.
That's right, Davy. No, you have a great memory, son. That's
snowballed,
exactly right.
Snowballed
exactly right.
And something that, as you've said, it's going to be 30 schools, tens of thousands of visitors.
Yeah.
Hundreds of connection points for you across universities and clubs across North America for Steve and Adam to go and recruit players. Dozens of players, dozens and dozens that have came to the Elite League, but dozens that have came as Belfast Giants, and just from small acorns, great oaks grow.
It's
something that you have to be proud of, Robert.
I am hugely proud of it, David. I mean, first, I'll just interject on your last interview. Mike should just learn to take his beatings. That's all wrong. But remarkably, it's Mike's alma mater that's coming this year, because both Mike and Ben Lake, current Giants, their alma mater, Sacred Heart. So I suspect the boys will be hanging around the locker room looking for the gear and the free food. We'll wait and see whether that happens or not. But you're right, Davy. It's a thing for us all to be proud of, because, we set ourselves out. We set our bar very high. The ideals we have, the values that we subscribe to as a club, and when you actually think about year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10, it just becomes that this is what we do. But to look back and to think about where it came from a conversation was, I wonder would they watch that in McCool's before or after the game, and we could maybe sell some more drink. I mean, it was something as simple as that. And then it was a brief conversation with Peter Roby and Dana Skinner, who wanted to bring 2 teams over, and I said, well, 2's not enough. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Bring 4, and it's remarkable that and Paddy, I don't know what way you want this to take, want me to take this, but what happened in Boston last week was unbelievable.
Well, take us through. Obviously, I'm sorry to jump in, but take us through what's happened, because obviously we've made the announcement for the next 3 years.
That's correct.
Many of them are coming back, and I've got a bit of a thing of the just to scroll through, but like 12 schools that are coming back in. But also, there was a whole lot of other stuff around it. Robert, take us through what took place.
Maura Hayes is the governor of Massachusetts, and for the last 2 years, she's overseen the announcement in her state house. President Marty Meehan, who is the president of the UMass system and had subscribed to UMass Lowell coming in the first year, and then the recovery year after COVID, he sent Lowell and UMass. They were both there. But the most remarkable thing that happened was we'd 4 local Boston television stations. We had all the Boston press and all the schools press. So when it hit the wires as a news item. I was watching it on the news in Boston that night. The most remarkable thing that happened, and the thing that I'm probably, I suppose, I don't particularly like surprises, and this was a surprise, but it was a wonderful one. So as a result of the work that we've done with the Friendship 4, Mayor Wu, Marty Walsh's successor, has basically said that from here to eternity, September 23rd in Boston forever will be known as Friendship 4 Day. And effectively a personal citation for the work that we've done in providing a platform for culture, sport, economic development between the two cities. So it's a huge accolade, something I'm very proud of, and something that I'm very proud to share with everybody. Because, you know, whilst it's all very well, we go out and shake hands and make claims and do these things. The other big thing that happened this week was that John Walsh, who is the chief executive of Belfast City Council, came with us and announced that he now has been given the freedom to investigate the possibility of building an ice rink for the city of Belfast in the city. And he was very effusive in his praise for all that we've done. We took him to Fenway, we took him to Northeastern, we took him to the Warrior Ice Arena where the Bruins practice, we took him to Bentley University, and he got a real sense of the level of contact and the level of access that we have, and that can only augur well for development of rink of ice in the city. So I was immensely proud of the week and what we achieved.
Robert, good to see you. I always sort of think of Boston as my spiritual home in the States because I'm a Patriots fan, a Bruins fan, a Red Sox fan. And I remember last season I was tuning in to try and watch a Bruins game, and beforehand there was a junior hockey game show on, just capturing some of the stuff that was going on with NCAA. And you're right, it was mentioned then. It was mentioned that some of the teams were coming over for the Friendship Four. Right. And
it's hard to describe, Stephen. It's hard to describe the level of currency that we have in Boston around what we've achieved. And don't get me wrong, you know, through your good activity, through the activity of other people, we've been able to sell out the arena every time the Friendship Fours comes on. This year's a special year. We're going with 4 teams from 3 different conferences in November. And then we're going with 4 powerhouse women teams, like Quinnipiac, you know, Minnesota, BU are all coming into play, and they're big. Harvard are 4 big women's programs, and we're going to try and do it 6 weeks apart. And it's just another piece of raising the bar to make that claim that we are in essence the only international tournament outside the USA that caters for Division 1 hockey. Now, Paddy's right. Is it a recruitment tool? Of course it is. We've had 15 players recruited to the Giants. The school is coming, as I've already mentioned. Meg and Ben play for us. Their alma mater, Sacred Heart. Adam and his coaching team do a forensic job every single year the teams come in and start the conversations then. It's no fluke that we pick the teams that we want to use the Giants locker room because Adam has maybe identified somebody that 2 years down the line he might want to recruit. So there's a very strategic way in which we even land the teams. It's a very strategic way in which we even put them with the volunteers that are going to take them right around the city to sell them the message. And it's a great effort. Now, people could say, why did you do it? And you know, is it not enough for the Giants? It's not. If we're going to give our young children any sort of aspiration and hope that our sport can be successful for them, we've got to get a facility built. And one of the ways we can get a facility built is expose our sport and our city to as wide an audience as possible. And at the end of 2027, you will have powerhouses like North Dakota, Wisconsin, Notre Dame are coming back. You know, Boston University are coming back. I mean, there's a range of schools that are coming. Quinnipiac and Northeastern are coming with Wisconsin and North Dakota. Though that sort of exposure gives you a national footprint across the whole of the Eastern Seaboard that I would argue no other club could have. So it is central to our mission to make ice as mainstream as we possibly can.
And how proud are you that the women's side of the game has also developed? Because my daughter's first ever ice hockey game was Providence v Princeton in the Friendship Series when it was just the 2 teams. 4 teams now coming. Hopefully that's just going to keep going strength to strength.
Stephen, I'm tired. I'm blue in the face. I mean, you know, Dundonald fantastically is reopening with a brand new £45 million facility with the Giants at the core of that. They've earned the right to be there. They've earned the right because of the 25 years of toil that they've done in that place. And Dundonald have embraced them as the professional team. And that's great. And that's wonderful. But, you know, I said this to John Walsh in Boston last week, and I actually believe this. For 50 years, we've taught kids how to swim. Imagine what would happen if we had 20 years teaching kids how to skate, and how that would fit into a curriculum, and how that curriculum would develop, and how we would then maybe start to take advantage of some of the outstanding relationships we have with recruiters in these schools. So it's still there's still a job of work to be done. And really all I can do at this stage now is paint the palette and say, look, here is the scale of the opportunity. Here is the scale of context. Adam can essentially speak to 30 athletic directors and 30 coaches now on top of what he already has. The CHL rules are going to completely radicalize the way NCAA hockey is played. There's going to be maybe another 600 players coming onto the market every year that might want to go and play college hockey. And we've got a backdoor access into all of that. So it can only augur well for the future for us, for the Giants. But until I get the rink, you know, my work here is not done.
I'm going to come to that in just a second. Obviously, those games of the Friendship Series are the 2nd and 3rd of January. As you say, is Harvard, Minnesota Duluth, Boston, Quinnipiac. We'll be building up that. Maybe get our good friend Sarah Fraser to come on and talk about Quinnipiac, and because she's been over a few times with those and the setup and having the women's team be part of that. I'm sure she'll have plenty to say. But then we've but also, of course, we've got the setup with regards to the Friendship 4 that's coming the 28th and the 29th. We've got Union, as you say. We might see Doug, because Doug is coming.
The remarkable thing about,
of course, not just in his role, Robert, but of course Union are playing, which is his alma mater. So it's a double. It's
actually a treble, Paddy, because remember, Union have won it.
Yes, they have.
Union have won it. So Union are coming back with a chance to do a.
Didn't they defeat his wife's alma mater as well, is what I remember from that? I think there was a bit of a household battle.
No, actually, if you remember, my friend, they defeated Mr. Thornton's alma mater.
Oh, that was BU.
They beat BU in the final.
Mm.
And I don't think Drew and Jim talked to each other for a day or two after that, but
we've got that. You got and Miami and RIT and Sacred Heart all as part of that. We've got the whole setup which comes through. I think it's the whole thing is always really entertaining and always something we look forward to, and no doubt we'll be building up to that. Let me just have a quick question to you, Robert. Your role has now changed. You're no longer CEO of the Odyssey Trust. You've done your time. You've done a wonderful job at that. You're now chairman of the Belfast. You're now chairman of the Belfast Giants. How has obviously your day to day has changed with regards to the Odyssey Trust and all that?
Dramatically.
What is it now? What is your role with regards to the Belfast Giants and the chairman of the Belfast Giants undertake?
Well, I can essentially devote most of my time now to hockey, and
that
what that actually means is that I can devote much of my time to being a pain in John Walsh's neck. I mean, the fundamental process. There's probably another $1 million of investment required for the rink, because I thought we would have had the 4 screens for the start of this season, and because of foundational problems, we had to put it off to the summer. So the 4 screens will be on for next year. We've put the new tier in, and it's selling. We're averaging now. Well, the first couple of weeks of the season, we've been averaging between 6.3 and 6.7. That needs to continue. I want to bring us into the realms of some of the rinks that we saw in Switzerland with ribbons and digital boards and stuff like that. So there's a development job around the commercial aspect and the economic, I suppose, aspect of the club, and making sure that it continues to drive in a business way. The capital process, the capital project hasn't changed, Paddy, from I met you. The capital project hasn't left, but I have to say to you, I think we've nudged it an awful lot closer than it was, because I've had the privilege of meeting the party leaders in Belfast, and they've unanimously agreed to explore phase 2 of Lever with ICE as the sort of kernel, and with Mr. Walsh now having been in Prague and in Salzburg and in Boston, he's now got a sense of what ICE can do for a community, that community. But Odyssey's 25 years old this year, and the neutrality of that site doesn't need to be talked about. It's proved itself. We are in the land of the giants. We are equal, and that needs to now spread across the city. So I'm going to be a bit of a disciple around all of that. I'm going to be in the next couple of weeks or two. I'm going to take on a couple of sort of board positions that will allow me to engineer a bigger position. I'm not sure whether you know this or not, and if you're not, I'll probably tell you now. But we're hosting the European Club Alliance, the European Hockey Club Alliance, at the end of October, and so far 54 teams have registered to come to Belfast. Now, my part in that was, in the summer I went to Vegas, and I had the privilege of meeting George McPhee, who's the general manager of the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Yes.
And me being me, I said, George, you don't fancy an old trip to Belfast in October to come and keynote this this conference we're putting together? And George, good to his word, said yes.
Come
So
over.
George is coming in to keynote the conference. So I have a political role there with engineering, with the clubs, working with the IIHF, making sure that whatever advantage is out there by way of capital contribution or hockey development, we're gonna keep driving. And of course, then the Friendship Four. The Friendship Four has become the envy of the NCAA. Some of the people that are coming this year to just see how it is we do it and the way that we do it. And if you think, Paddy, Sunday, there were 82,000 people in Croke Park
Yes.
watching the Steelers.
Watching, Pittsburgh
Right.
against Minnesota.
Right? Are we that far away from an outdoor rink game?
I tell you what, that would be probably from an NCAA perspective.
There you go.
It'd be,
It's been done in Fenway.
Mhm.
It's been done in Fenway. Why wouldn't we explore it? When 10 years ago, when Davy interviewed Marty Walsh 11 years ago, and he got his bell pots and bean pots mixed up. Nobody thought we'd been sitting here tonight with the potential of 24 teams of Division 1 schools having been to Belfast. So, what can they say? No.
And it's not, and it's not just. And I'll not take up too much more of your time, Robert. We do appreciate it. It's not just that. It's like, and you've touched on this as well. When these teams started coming out, the one that really bounced out at me as well is North Dakota. North Dakota is an 8-time D1 champion. Has played in the in the Frozen Four over 20 times. I think Gabe Bast played for North Dakota. I think. But that is like another absolute hockey powerhouse within the NCAA that is going to be part of the Friendship Four in the next couple of years.
North Dakota, we had the preliminary conversations with them. Sarah Stanton and Cara Travel got on to North Dakota to start to say about arrangements. And North Dakota said to us the week before the meeting in Boston, they said, listen, we're going to start at a fairly low level. And Sarah said, that's fine. We don't want any price breakdowns for, flights, hotels, tickets. We just want one price. And Sarah Fine said, how many should I reserve? And he says, well, let's be conservative, 3,000.
Let's be conservative.
So and notwithstanding that Wisconsin are in the same conference.
Yes.
Yes, I'm excited by the whole concept of a national tournament. It's what I envisaged at the start, and we've now landed it. And as I've moved away from the day-to-day stuff and can concentrate a little bit more on those relationships and those handshakes and those conversations, it means that for another couple of years, I can still, be a pest to people that will come and help me get this rink built.
And just with that building the rink, Robert, a very throwaway comment, but if you're putting several thousand hotel beds and several thousand flights into the airport and several thousand taxis and several thousand meals into the local economy, well, it just makes it a lot easier to sell the dream.
Well, you're absolutely right, Davy. And I mean, if you think about it, last year's Friendship Four, there were 2,000 bed nights in Belfast.
Right.
So your point's well made. How I mean, by the time we get to 27, if it translates into the numbers we're thinking of, we'll be sold out before we open the doors. And that's tremendous. It helps the brand, it helps the city, it helps the youth that we want to develop. But most of all, for me, it brings a level of hockey to the city that you can only imagine you would have seen. And really, for me, the fact that all of those big schools now see Belfast as a place they want to visit subscribes back to Davy, subscribe back to you, Davy, about how proud we are of our city. And the fact that they're coming and then going back and reporting. I mean, we've a list of schools, guys, out to 2032. We've announced 3 years because that's really all we can manage, but we've actually got a list of schools out to 2032. So we're in good shape.
I just want to I get away slightly from the friendship floor. I know that's what you're on to talk about, but when you're talking about when we envisage hockey in Belfast and we went for the games in June this year, the kind of off-season, unseasonal hockey, if you like, filled the rink twice, made a tremendous contribution to an amazing charity, had a whole lot of celebrity eyes and Instagrams on the SSE Odyssey, and obviously had Adam's game and a lot of alumnus back. Like, there is room in the schedule for a Giants alumnus game.
Of course there is. Of course there's, David. It's a great idea. When I sat down with, I mean, I can tell it now because it's over and it's been a success. I remember pulling together Laura Small, David Lamont, and Anne Graham into a room and saying to them, right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a dinner in the harbour on the Friday night. We're going to do hospice on the Saturday night, and we're going to retire Kiefer's jersey on the Sunday. Go. That's what we're doing. And I remember David Lamont coming back about a week later, and he said, nobody said no. And I went, keep pushing. And keep pushing and keep pushing. And himself and Laura especially, pushed till there was no more, push to generate. And as a result of it, we got what was there's probably been 3 highlights in my career as a CEO that I would look back on. The first one, from a purely sporting passion point of view, was the Continental Cup final. I genuinely thought the roof was going to come off the building that day. And from a purely sporting, I mean, I can recite the commentary. I can hear Davy screaming in my ear now from that game, and that would be one of them. The second one, and I don't think I've ever been as proud involved in any sporting arena as the night we hosted Ukraine. And I saw Petr Cech into goals, and we ended up giving them whatever it was, 65 or 75, whatever it was we gave them. But all of that was trumped by listening to Kiefer on the ice.
Oh, speech.
All of that was trumped by seeing the jersey and up into the rafters. Yeah. All of that was trumped by seeing his brother and his sister and his mother and his father standing 10 feet from him, his wife, his children. And that's when we got a chance to say thank you to him for all that he's given us. And that weekend will live long in my memory as a weekend of just exactly what it is our wee club can do. And you're right, Davy. The next trip, there will be summer ice next year. I'll be shot if I tell you what it is, so I can't.
Okay.
There will be summer ice next year.
Interesting.
But I have to say to you, an alumnus game is definitely one that we should explore. But we should do it in season. We should find a way to do it in season. I think that the idea of an in-season game, where the boys, like a Tuesday night training game or a Wednesday night training game, if we could manage it, would be sold the same way, or we sell it. We try and sell it the week after the playoffs. We do it the same way we did Ukraine, where we bring all the guys back and we play it. And if you were going to do that, then it would have to be charitable. So you'd have to be going back to the market and saying, right, look, listen, if we're going to bring all these players back, we're going to put 7,000 people in the building at whatever price we're going to charge them, and we're going to give all that away to a charity. That's the way I see it would work.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic if we were able to do that. Robert, one last question. We're missing not you, obviously the chairman of the Belfast Giants. We've talked a lot about it, but last season we reclaimed 2 of our trophies. We're back in the market we've just had the CHL come through, another couple of games in the CHL, and we're playing through the Challenge Cup. What's your take on the group of lads that we have this year?
Well, just before I do that, Paddy, I'm going to say one thing. I got a little bit cross at the end of last season because I don't think we celebrated the fact that we won two. Our club now has such a high bar of expectation that when the playoffs came around, there was abject disappointment. And I was looking around me saying, okay, yes, nobody likes getting beaten, especially not by Cardiff, but nobody likes getting beaten. It was the third tournament. We had done a treble. Sheffield had done a treble. They won nothing. We won two. Why was it the case that there wasn't euphoria in the same way there was when we've done the trebles? That was the first thing. This year, I think we've an outstanding group of men. I really do. I think that we've got all of the leadership that's required to bring the new guys on, and some of the new guys so far have been very good. So, what are we going to win? Who knows? But what I can tell you is that the bar of expectation from the coach won't change. When you do come back home and you get down backstage, you'll see the picture of Sleeve Donard, and you'll see the three trophies sitting on the summit, because he passionately believes that in order for us to do what we want to do, we have to go to the well and we have to go to the summit every time we play. But genuinely, the team we have this year, I'm excited to see what it can do.
Robert, we, as always, really appreciate your time. It's good to see you. We'll catch up through the season, and looking forward to the Friendship 4 already.
Looking forward to it, boys. See you. Take care.
Lost everybody there, whatever's happened. Welcome back. Didn't kick you all out. And still lost Stevie there as well. Sorry, we're all back. There we go. The big thanks to Robert as always for coming and joining us. Stevie, we'll get you. We everybody knows what me and Davy think of the Friendship 4, but what about yourself?
I love it, Paddy. I was all in whenever the NCAA college football came over to Dublin the first time. I went to it with a couple of friends. It was a brilliant experience. I'll call my brother right here. I said to him about coming the next year, and he was like, "No, why would I spend money on that? I'd rather just go to the NFL." And I was like, "I don't think you understand the level of football at that level. It's literally the next best thing to the NFL that you're going to see." And
Yes.
in the hockey coming over here, the NCAA, that Division 1, some of the teams that have come over, Notre Dame last year, Boston University, it's such an unbelievable level of hockey. And sometimes I think almost people don't quite realize just how good those teams are, just how good some of those players that you're seeing are. I mean, there's players who played there who've gone on to NHL, and they are, what I think is brilliant as well is they're passionate about it. Like you saw last year, Boston University, just how much that meant to them. The comeback in the final, winning that game, and then skating around with that Bell Pot trophy, it means a lot to the teams as well. So it's not just that they're coming over and showing off a little bit for a different crowd. They actually want to come and win it. And I think when you see really properly competitive hockey at that level, it's such a great get for the Belfast Giants that no other team in the UK has. No other team in the UK has that on a regular basis like we do.
Davy, you made a point, and Robert made the point as well about the players who have come to Belfast as part of the Friendship 4. I'd argue there are players right across the Elite League who have played in the Friendship 4 whose first sort of experience of what rinks could be like in the UK was the SSE Arena.
Sorry, is that a statement or a question?
Well, Corey Nielsen, it's a leading question. So, but to agree with me and to develop.
I agree with you, Patrick, wholehearted there. Yes, my man. No, listen, anybody.
Corey Nielsen move. Thanks.
Anyone could have tried to create this, but I believe strongly in my heart that we're the only city and the only club that could pull it off. And Could we have done it once in 2015 and then done it again and again and again and again, and now make it a yearly event and make it a women's event, which I'm really passionate about because obviously I'm a dad of girls. That's not the only reason I'm passionate about women's sport, but especially being a dad of girls, I think it's something that we've talked about on the podcast. I think it's amazing. We're going to have, I was talking to Kate Morrison. Caitlin will come on the podcast and talk about Whitley coming up to Christmas. She's now assistant captain. I think Whitley for her team. Doing really well in hockey. So there's girls come through Belfast that are doing really well in hockey. It's just been good. And like I've said to Robert before as well, and he talks about his proud moment being, seeing Adam out there with his family. And Robert doesn't take enough credit there for the boot room idea, the old
Correct.
I know it's like Liverpool thing and all, but that idea of continuity, of having people that get it. And he saw that Adam as a player got Belfast and got what Robert wanted to sell and took him on, put him Jeff Mason, Rob Stewart, Jason Ellery, George Awada, all these guys that have played for the club, knows what it means to have that Finn McCool head on your heart and go out there, and that the name on the front is far more important than the name on the back, and they get it. And that's why year after year, these guys come in and buy into what Adam is trying to sell, because Adam knows what it means to be a Belfast man.
100%. Looking forward to those two tournaments at the end of November, and of course, as I said, the Friendship Series and in the first weekend of January. And we'll get more information. We'll bring some people on and we'll chat about that as the weeks go on. A couple of domestic. Let's just have a quick. We were talking about it earlier on with a couple of domestic matters. Challenge Cup is ongoing. You can see anybody watching us live can see the scores going down the side, and even a few mistakes that I've made in sort of putting that together. Because scores going down the side, and the Cardiff Devils are leading in Challenge Cup Group A, with the Dundee Stars leading in Challenge Cup Group B. Sheffield, Steve, defeated at home, shut out at home by Coventry. I think it's the first time at home in the Challenge Cup in 7 or 8 years that Sheffield have been defeated and shut out in that respect. And it was Coventry that did it.
Yeah, I like Coventry. I think they've recruited quite well. A couple of players like Grant Mismash, Elijah Briga, Max Stewart, players who know how to win a Challenge Cup, know how to win a league. But no, I like Kevin Moore, the head coach there. I think he's former goaltender, so he's a bit quirky, but I think he is a very good leader and a very good coach. And I thought last season I was impressed. I was pleased to see that Coventry gave him extended his contract. And I think this year, with a little bit more time to recruit and a little bit more time to get his game plan across, I think Coventry are a good side this year. So, yeah, going to beat Sheffield. Sheffield will not take that, too well. They'll be disappointed at losing at that. But Coventry, good team, and should not be taken lightly.
Thanks to Anthony Russell, who's correcting us. It was 9 years, Davy, is the stat on Sheffield losing at home in the Challenge Cup. That's remarkable.
Yeah.
You don't care, do you? well, let me just ask you about this. We talked about how these teams are getting, how teams around the league, including ourselves, are getting better and better.
Don't care.
Cardiff played a home-and-home series against Manchester this weekend that descended into quite a physical affair. Unusual for us to see it. Is it something you think we'll see more?
I didn't know until you told me at the start of the show.
I was going to even play it there.
I started looking at the other teams in December the 27th, as you well know.
I was going to start playing the video, Davy, so you could see
them all boxing each other.
That's
shit.
Is that coming up? Where's it gone? There we go.
Oh, dancing on ice. We hug.
But this is an element of the game we don't see anymore. We don't see. There's back-to-back games, and we were talking to Spike earlier on about how we're playing Fife more, we're playing Dundee more, we're playing Glasgow more. Familiarity breeds contempt. Would you not expect, Davy, this to be more of a thing?
Well, our next 7 games, Paddy, to take the Champions Hockey League out are 5 Stars Clan, 5-5-5 Clan. So that familiarity is going to be there for the next little while. And then we get into the action where I think it's the 26th of October before the team hits England for the first time away to Guildford. So it has been a bit of a Scottish road swing, home and away against Scottish teams. But, it gives us a good chance to get the wheels oiled and get going, because there's There's a lot of hockey to be played. But I love that type of hockey. That's
Well, this is the whole thing is commentators, and you see people saying, "Oh, people don't want to see this." Yes, they do. Yes, they do. This is the hockey that I fell in love with. This is the hockey that I watched. This is yes, I love the speed. I love the skill. I love all that sort of stuff. But one of the reasons that I fell in love with this game way back when was this. It was the fight. It was the back. It was the Paxton Schultes. It was the Paul Cruz. It was but even go back. It was the Bob Proberts. It was it was this.
I remember strongly the first time Blair Riley dropped the gloves. I remember strongly. Can't remember what it was. Might have been away to Hull or something. It was down in the corner. I remember the fight, and it was like the first time you saw him getting angry because everyone had sort of said, like, "Don't make this guy angry. Just let him get on with his game because you turned into a beast for us." Paxton, Schulte, Sean Skihar, all these guys are remembered 25 years later because they were willing to drop. I'm going to tell you, there's guys in that locker room will not be found wanting if this, Riley Brandt tries to mix something up. We're tough, we're fast, we're skillful. We'll be that if we need to be that. The game has changed. People can debate whether it's changed for the better or not. I love that kind of hockey. I'll always love that kind of hockey.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering about this. Is it a generational thing? Because as soon as I heard about this, I went to the highlights and had a smile on my face, and I was sort of enjoying it from the start. And I was wondering, is that people want to talk all about it's a family friendly sport, but I think the thing is there's something for everybody, and there's definitely a huge portion of hockey fans will enjoy this.
There's nobody sitting down when that happens.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Nobody's sitting down going, "Oh, that's terrible. This is bad." Everybody's up in their feet. But there's also so much more knowledge now about the causation of injuries and brain injuries and people not wanting to get concussions. And I understand that people don't want. It's a job, and you want everybody to go from home from their work healthy, and that goes for knee injuries, head injuries, whatever it might be. But so the fighting does add an element of risk that they're trying to remove from the game. It drips feeds down from the NHL. It has came back in a little bit more there over the last number of years. So you'll see it drip feeding down that it comes back in the R game a little bit. Some teams have pulled up this year. They're a lot bigger than they were last year. So it remains to be seen what we have to do to match that. But an Adam Keefe team will never be found wanting.
Well, if you go and you watch the highlights of the second game against Glasgow the weekend, it doesn't really come to much, but Ben Lake and Chris McKay have a little bit of a tussle, and they both have smiles on their faces. I think hockey players enjoy it, but I think hockey players are also good at leaving it on the ice. It's 60 minutes. You leave it on the ice.
But like I made a comment on it back in June, is how much I was looking forward to seeing the elbow pad flying through the air from Adam Keefe, because how many times did we see where Adam Keefe was part of that, stepping up for his teammates, taking some lad down and then throwing the elbow pad up in the air to make sure that everybody knew that this was him and this was his house. I would struggle. Obviously, we talk about Riley Brandt and what Riley Brandt brings to the Cardiff Devils, and he obviously brings something because he's coming back year on year, despite the fact that he's not maybe my cup of tea when it comes to what he provides on the ice. But then when you start to think about it, and obviously Paul Thompson's in a Cardiff, he's this is his team, this is his players, and he's setting the teams out to do that. If this is what the Cardiff Devils are bringing to the Elite League, and they're going to be a physical team, they're going to be a team that gets out there and they're going to rough players up as well as get out the win, then do you know what? I'm kind of all for it.
Something different. It's a different challenge, isn't it? Something that you're going to have to step up to. You talk about earning the right to play, and if that's what Cardiff are going to make you do, then the best teams will earn the right to play against them.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll see. I don't think Manchester play Cardiff again until November time, but we certainly will be playing Cardiff before then. We'll see how Cardiff are when they and whether it is. I'm sort of focusing on Cardiff here. Obviously, there were two teams dancing here. Manchester were part of it, but interesting, it's Cardiff who have seemed to have been getting the focus of this sort of physicality, and we've seen it from Paul Thompson's teams in the past. So very interested in that. Listen, let's get back to just the Giants. 2 games this weekend. Saturday at 7 p.m. in the Fife Ice Arena in Kirkcaldy. We take on the Flyers, and so I'm laughing. 7 p.m. on Saturday because The day after that, it's Dundee. It's going to be this for the next couple of weeks, guys. As Davy says, we play Fife 100 times in the next couple of weeks, so may as well strap in and enjoy it. Giants against the Stars on Sunday at 5 p.m. and at the Dundee Ice Arena. That's on Stars TV with the boys there, and Flyers TV for that if you're not making the trip over to Kirkcaldy. And on that, boys, I'm going to ask any other business. No? David? Don't know if David's frozen or if he's just on the wind up, but there's nothing coming from him. On that note, then, a big thanks to Mike Lee and the Robert Fitzpatrick for their time. I think Davy's on the wind up. Yeah, he's definitely on the wind up. Well, you freeze pretty well there, Davy. Big thanks to Mike Lee and the Robert Fitzpatrick for coming on and joining us. And a big thanks to you, Stevie, for coming on. And top quality debut, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
The Jets don't play the Patriots until week 10, I believe. So
we can be friends till then.
Don't worry, mate. I've got to deal with the game at Spurs in a couple of weeks, so I'll probably just be in the depths. It'll be the tankathon by then. I'll be looking forward to just making sure that the Jets tank to get that first pick.
Coming back, Drake May. Here we go.
That's it, Mr. Vijimsi. Good to see you.
Cheers, man.
If you want to get us at AVFTB on Twitter, you can get us on Facebook, YouTube, kingdomofthegiants.com, and all the good podcast providers. Giants at Flyers, Saturday 7 p.m. Giants at Stars, Sunday 5 p.m. If you're not making it over to Tayside or to Kirkcaldy, you'll get those on their webcasts. And wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.